have a video of Phil Fox from BK Apologist Bodega Talk on Fridays. Okay, Bodega Talk is a great show. I tell y'all to go watch BK Apologist channel. Okay, this dude is a beast. He's an animal for the faith. He does more than things just for the urban community. He does things for all communities, and this dude is definitely a soldier in the Lord, and he is a great apologist. Hopefully we can have him on the podcast soon just to talk about him, faith, and all of that. But listen to this. He had Phil Fox. Phil Fox is a Native American, and so he talks about the actual pagan practices of Native Americans that still go on today, because people think that it's just over with. We think it's so easily done, but he talks about it. So hey, let me go play the clip.
Yeah, and in a relationship. And BK, here's another thing too.
Yes, sir.
Is, you know, for us, for my people culturally, when we worship, it is a 4-day literal torture. It's 4 days of, many people participate in what's called the Sundance.
Right.
And they dance from sunup to sundown in the blazing heat of the summer without food and water. And they pierce themselves through the chest. And the holy men, they pierce their backs and they drag numbers and numbers of buffalo skulls on the ground that dig into the ground, and it's torture. And they do all this for Creator, for their God,
right?
So that equating a Christmas tree in your living room that you pack up on the 26th or 27th of December, or you just take it and toss it into the garbage if it's an actual live tree. I mean, again, so that speaks to how low or how your worship or your claim, that's pretty surface level. When one of the beauties and one of the things of Native American culture is that it is so archaic. It is still very ancient in its ideas. And so looking at those things and understanding that, look, these people it was more than just that. Even just to create it was blood, sweat, and tears. Their idol. To create that idol, it literally, I mean, their hands would probably be scarred and have calloused and they would sweat. I mean, these things were heavy in labor just to even create one simple idol. And so, and the same is when because even just the creation of the arena that the Native people dance in takes a tremendous amount of work, because they build it from scratch. They build it from the ground up just to have this ceremony. And so, and it's more than that. And it's even throughout the year. So again, like looking at this idea of, oh my goodness, you're worshiping this tree, like it shows and it tells, and you don't have a clear understanding of what worship really is. Because even though, yes, my Native people and their ways, it would be considered pagan ways, because they are not worshiping Christ in the true God. And I know that's going to sound controversial to any Native people that are listening, but that's the truth. And so we need to understand that, and that's something that we could pull that is happening modern day. Where sometimes people compartmentalize, he's all these old pagan deities and things, they don't really exist anymore. But no, this is a modern day example of them, because they literally erect a tree in the middle and they dance around this tree, and that's the tree of life. And they create this entire arena for people to dance around. Right. So it is a modern day example of what idol worship looks like. So
that was a great telling. Yeah, but again,
and now you saw what he said. He said like arenas. They built arenas, hands filled with blood. They did all of these things to call on these gods. They went through literally pain to call on these gods. And we think it's so easy because we have a very, very low view of worship. Okay. If our view of worship was higher, okay, just for example, we worship the living God, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And we step in the church, we don't worship. Just because you have on a cross on your neck doesn't mean you worship. Just because you say Jesus doesn't mean you worship. Or just because you have a shirt that says Yahshua or you have a Bible doesn't mean you worship at all. It doesn't mean you're worshiping and calling on him. It's a lot of people who have so many hundreds of Bibles in their house. And like they say, hey, I don't even read them. I don't care about them. Care about the Bible. These just my grandmother books. But in our case, when we talk, and put down these scissors, I still got this. In our case, we talk about Christians being pagan because they have a Christmas tree in the home. We think it's just this worship thing is so easily done. It's not easily done. Worship takes effort. It takes time. It takes amount of energy. It takes focus. It takes dedication. It takes your heart yielding to this thing and asking whatever you are worshiping to be there, to do this, to do that. Like when you think about when you worship Christ, man, you are centered. You are focused in him. You're asking him. You're praying to him. You're glorifying him. You're giving him thanks. Nobody's giving thanks to these Greek gods. Nobody's giving thanks to these pagan idols. Nobody's giving thanks to a Christmas tree that can do nothing. As the Lord said, they're like a scarecrow in a cucumber field. They cannot talk. They cannot move. They cannot do nothing. So nobody is worshiping any type of idol. Okay. I just have to say you have to be consistent when you want to talk about these things.